am I gonna die?
Yeah, you're gonna die. That's a matter of time. That ain't the question. Question is whether they're gonna have good stories to tell about you when you're gone. Now, don't be a bitch. Let's go.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is burning somewhere! For November 1st, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. Garbage. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
Yes, but who's garbage, Bernie?
Would you have thought, I mean, maybe it's on brand, but would you have thought that the last week of a political election, that the dominant word of the week would be garbage?
Yes.
Why garbage? Like, why are we talking
Garbage.
about garbage?
Which you prefer?
Garbage.
I always thought that rubbish sounded
Rubbish.
like really like that one meant something.
That's a very British thing.
Rubbish.
Rubbish.
You're rubbish.
Can I share something with you that's been great? First of all, hi, everybody. It's Friday. Tomorrow is the weekend.
The 1st of November. Cover your ears, everyone. She's coming.
What? Who's coming?
Mariah Carey.
Oh, right. Somebody was saying in the comments that they thought the Agatha All Along release that we were talking about yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, that it was to get it set up so that you could watch the whole show in October and then finish it on Halloween, which makes sense.
It does make sense that they got it out right there at the deadline. You finally caught up. It was great. It made me so excited.
You were very excited about the show, and so I secretly caught up to you. I was watching episodes.
It was so great. You came in yesterday. You're ready to watch the finale. Oh, I love you.
Well, you were very excited about it. Also, it's like, I really trust your taste as well. And then you were being kind of quietly you should watch this. You think you're and I do have to say, we won't talk about this show because we've talked about it a lot. It's a really good show. I understand why they released the last two episodes together. I don't think it was for a release with Halloween as much as it was a pacing, especially of the 9th episode, the final episode of the series. That's all I'll say about that.
I agree. I almost would have felt a little bit cheated by the end of the
You waited a week for that?
Yes, by the end of the previous episode when the next one came out, if I'd had to wait a whole week for it. As is, I thought it tied everything together very, very nicely. It did what I hoped it would do, which is that it kept the stakes fairly intimate, which is something that I'd like to see. Not all the time, but sometimes. In a nice Marvel production, I like the neighborhood level personal stakes stuff when it starts that way and finishes that way.
I just want to say this, without spoiling anything or building expectations too high. Occasionally a series can have an absolute banger of an episode. And I feel like Agatha All Along has one of those episodes.
It does. That's the episode I watched and came to, and I was like,
I got
Bernie,
that feeling.
I need you to watch this show.
I need
you to watch the show.
And it's much later in the series, but it's not the final episodes. Occasionally, American television does this thing where it's somebody comes in and they tie together a lot of things. I'm talking Ozymandias from Breaking Bad, the Hold the Door episode from Game of Thrones, even stuff like Mythic Quest. If you haven't seen Mythic Quest, the Rob McElhenney project, where there's the bottle episode where they've got the game developer couple. And apparently there's one of those every...
I think every season has a bottle episode.
Yeah. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And I think Agatha All Along has one of those episodes. That's all I'll say about it.
So, no,
it is
good.
relatively new.
It's good. It's and while we're actually following up on some topics, I do need to make an apology. Yesterday when I was talking about
apology accepted. I'm glad we're talking about this.
I was talking about Tomb Raider casting. I made a mistake. I got my Emmas mixed up. So Emma Corrin is not the Emma in House of the Dragon. That's Emma Darcy. Emma Corrin was most recently featured in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay. Oh, is she the Charles Xavier's sister?
Yes.
Deadpool and Wolverine, by the way, has now had a streaming announcement. They're coming to streaming November something. Can you look that up?
I'll look that up.
I'm hearing talking about it.
Something.
Yeah, she was good. That part was so bizarre. She must have had a lot of fun playing that role.
Yes, and did it fantastically. So would be another great option for a Tomb Raider.
Someone also pointed out that you wanted Peggy Carter, not related to Sharon Carter. You wanted her
kind of related.
Why? Who's Sharon Carter? She the daughter?
Yeah, she's like her daughter or granddaughter or something.
The weird relationship thing.
He likes to keep it in the family.
Gross. Stop it. But she played Lara Croft apparently in an animated version of Tomb Raider.
Oh,
You'll
right.
be happy to know.
So yes, she is the voice of Lara Croft in that Netflix animated series that I referenced. I have not seen it yet, but I love. She's got a great voice for it, but I almost think it's a waste not to use her physically as well.
Can I say to you though, I'm really disappointed. I made one suggestion for a thumbnail like in the last 5 months, and you didn't use it. You used the scary dolls from Japan, and I wanted you to. I sent you a picture of the polygon tiger from Tomb Raider.
I put that in the link dump. I thought that was a link dump reference.
Oh, that was a thumbnail suggestion.
So backing up just a little bit to Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be available to stream on Disney Plus from the 12th of November.
12th of November. So
11/12.
Right around the corner.
12/11, depending on your date formats.
Yeah, if your country still exists, after next week, then you can watch Deadpool and Wolverine. Good for you. Otherwise,
take the edge off.
That void stuff will be really relevant.
Listen to Mariah Carey and watch Deadpool and Wolverine.
So I want to share something that I've been wanting to share for a while, which is I have a lot on my mind lately. As you guys know, at the beginning of the year, I was dealing with the family health thing, and that doesn't go away. And there's a lot of other things. And I found myself this year kind of losing my long-held superpower, what I call the superpower, that I could fall asleep at any point in time, anywhere. I've lost that this year, and I've been trying to get it back. And actually, you know about this as well. You've been very helpful to me with this. I found this trick, of all places, on goddamn social media. It was probably like an Instagram reel or a TikTok or something. Is a trick to fall asleep. And I got to share it because it works really well for me. And I won't go into the science of it. We'll link in the link up if you want to see it. But essentially, it's a little trick you play with yourself to reset your brain or change your type of thought you have while you're trying to fall asleep. And what you do is you think of a word, like you think of the word broom, and then you think of the first letter in that word, and then think of a word that begins with the first letter of that. Then you take the R, think of a word that begins with the first letter of that, and picture that in your mind. Then take the O, then take the other O. Think of words for each one. I have no idea how it works. All I can say is this. It's the last thing I can remember doing every night now before I fall asleep.
I'm glad that works for you.
It works really well for me. And if you're the kind of person who has trouble falling asleep, take a look at our link dump and click on this and read it. I would say just read the technique. I think sometimes if you read too much about the way the brain works and the way the brain thinks,
you can almost
you
overthink
get lost in it.
Yeah.
You get lost in it. Yeah.
I will say that trick doesn't necessarily work quite so well for me. It might be because I overthink it, or it might be because I think multi-threaded. Mm-hmm. Like while part of my mind is coming up with words to start with the B and the R and so on and so forth, over here I'm thinking about all the things I need to get done. It's like somehow I can think of all those things at once, and it's incredibly annoying.
It's crazy too when there's like a technique because a lot of times conditions can come from lots of different vectors, and occasionally you'll read about a fix for something. And this is one that works for me for this. And there was also another thing where they say tinnitus here, but tinnitus. I didn't realize till we moved out to the country that I have a ringing in my ear. And I didn't know that.
You didn't realize until there was actually silence.
There was silence. In fact, I think I've had it most of my life since I was a kid, because to me, it's like, that's just the sound of silence. Is like, there's like a little hum to silence. I'd be like, no, it's just that's tinnitus.
It turns out, Bernie, that's what that song was about.
But reading about it, I can tell you now, mine is totally related to my jaw, because I can flex my jaw in a certain way and make mine go away, which is great when you're one of the, you have the condition where one of the fixes works, but then it always sucks when you hear about a fix for something you've got that doesn't work for you, but it works for everybody else. So this might not work for you, like it doesn't work for Ashley, but give it a try, man.
Yeah, if you have trouble sleeping or getting back to sleep, whatever, it's worth trying. If it doesn't work, you're no worse off.
Yeah.
It's like asking out a girl or something, right? The answer is no if you don't ask.
Yeah, it's really weird you say that, because I just saw.
You just asked out a girl? God damn it, dude. We've talked about this.
Let me put it this way. I'm no worse off. I saw this TikTok where a guy was like stopping a girl. She's on her way to class, and she said like, well, I'm late, so I got to go. He goes, well, can I get your number? And he got a number. And I was like, that's awesome. It's like, is it because she was like late to class and like this is something she has to deal with? Like I used to be a proponent of like just shoot your shot and things like that and be okay hearing no. Like as long as you're okay hearing no. But then I've met a lot of ladies, especially very good looking ladies, who like they don't want to have to say no 800 times a day, right?
Right. I mean, I would say it helps if you've connected in some way.
Can there be
not
like
just
a,
not just like spotting someone across the road and being like that one, and then just going for it because you have no basis to even begin with. But if you've connected with someone in a conversation or at a party or somehow, right? Then I would say yes, fine. But if it's just randos coming up to you,
this is literally random on the street.
No, then you're wasting my time.
Yeah, but it is like I always thought it was like something out of a movie because you see that in movies and don't see that often in real life. But nowadays it seems like it's just there was a lot of things in 80s romantic comedies that through the lens of time, you know, it was stalking.
That's
you know?
I have also seen Revenge of the Nerds.
Well, that's totally so that might be some criminal charges in there. I was thinking like Say Anything where he's standing outside her window with the boombox.
Oh yeah.
And then it's just like nowadays it'd be like, hey, you need to go away.
Well, look, the old saying remains: if I like you, it's sweet. If I don't, it's creepy.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's like you never know which side of that you're falling on. You just don't.
To be fair, the people who are creepy can't read the room. Also, right? They can't figure out when that attraction isn't there. That's also lends to that scenario as well, I think.
Right.
Why
So
am I
what
playing
we're
devil's
saying-
advocate for men over here? Yeah, I'm like arguing against men. What's going on? What happened?
I thought we were talking about health.
I know.
You know what? It is the 1st of November, which does kick off Movember, so it does make sense we're talking about male mental health.
Oh, right. It's NaNoNoNut Movember.
NaNoNut
What are you going to do?
November.
Are you going to write a novel? Are you not going to masturbate? Or are you going to grow a beard? Ashley?
I'm good.
Which one are you going to do?
I'm going to nut all over a novel.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
Happy November. All right, let's talk about current events. This week, it was a few days ago, one of our favorite celebrities, Timothy Chalamet, crashed his own lookalike contest.
Chalamet.
He pulled a Charlie Chaplin. That's right. He turned up to a Timothy Chalamet lookalike contest in New York and posed with people. He did not win. He did not, in fact, enter, but took a bunch of pictures with people. And then the whole event got shut down for being an unpermitted costume contest.
What? Is that a thing?
Apparently that's a thing. That's it must be somewhere in the civil codes of New York that you can't have an unpermitted costume contest. It's right there next to the one where little kids aren't actually allowed to sell lemonade.
That's I was about to say that's a dangerous precedent to set the week of Halloween. You know, because then they got to like shut down Halloween.
Right, like shut the whole thing, shut it down.
Yeah.
Or you have to get a permit. Do you think every bar out there is getting permits for their Halloween costume contest?
Can I just say, by the way, trick-or-treating last night was our kids had a great time. It was slim pickings out there, dude.
Well, look, we have to acknowledge as well that we come from the sort of suburban area where trick-or-treating is like a contact sport.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking.
Go ahead.
We're talking about like everyone makes a game of filling up their Stanley cup with a whole bottle of wine and taking the wine wagon along with them when they trick or treat. And every single house is like set up so that there is treats everywhere. Right? This is like it is handled very, very differently where we come from and what we think of as trick or treating.
If I may. I do want to defend our local Scottish brethren. However, there were a ton of kids on the street. Those kids came from somewhere in that village. I feel like if you're putting a kid out on the street to go get candy, you then have an obligation to hand out candy.
You would say that, but I would like to also acknowledge that we did not do that.
We had to drive into that village, though.
Yes,
Right?
that's true. And we had this issue in Austin as well, where every year we would have candy to hand out, and no one would ever come.
We
to our
lived kind
door.
of remotely in Austin, to be honest with you. It was weird.
It was in the city, but it was oddly difficult to get to.
We was
and
weird.
so when you have the moms with the wine Stanley cups engineering the ideal route for their kids to go trick-or-treating to maximize the candy benefit, our house was not on the list.
We were low density in Austin, right? That was our problem. Kids want the density, you know? That's
like everyone makes fun of the like McMansion neighborhoods, but let me tell you,
dude, that's
when
a gold mine.
Halloween rolls around, those kids know exactly where to go.
We used to live in a McMansion neighborhood when JD and Teddy were younger, and there were people who would travel in to go to the
They like commute in, take the train.
Kids had a great time. Overall, I'd say C+. C+.
I'm going to give it an A because we did not come home with like an entire pillowcase full of candy that we now have to ration out. They've each got like a solid bowl full.
You know how you ration
That's
it?
the perfect
you
amount.
just eat it in the middle of the night, and then they don't know.
I know, that's the problem.
Come
That's the
on.
problem. We're trying to be healthy here, Bernie. Oh, speaking of which, it's a new month, and that means if you're on Apple, you have a new monthly fitness goal. What's yours?
You're talking about this like anyone else does this. You're really excited about this. Every month, the Apple Watch will give you a new goal, and it's algorithmically based on what you did in the previous month. Like if you had a really like hardcore workout month in October, it'd be like, what if you like ran to the moon and back in November? I think they set the goals.
It does. Well, it does try to encourage you to keep your level of activity at or above where it was the previous month, which is great for getting you started. But it is true that after a few months, if you're going up and up and up, it can get very difficult to maintain it. I have never once had a full calendar year where I've been able to get every goal.
I'll talk about that in a second. My goal to answer your question is I have to log a workout 14 times in the month of November.
Do you want to know how low my phone's or my Apple Watch's standards have gotten for me?
What's that?
I need to walk for 5 minutes 9 times.
What? Yes. Walk for 5 minutes 9 times?
Yes, that's how low it thinks of me.
Your Apple Watch is like, hey, maybe November, try getting out of bed.
Have you considered standing up?
Give it a shot.
Have you considered, hold on, what's this? Oh, no, I got a new goal coming in. It's to nut on a novel 5 times.
Stop it. So I used to be a big believer in streaks. If you've listened to podcasts over the years, I would talk about an app I had called Streaks, and it was for maintaining momentum for writing and things like that. I now no longer believe in streaks because I'm on the other side of that. When you establish a long streak at something, and the Apple Watch does this, it'll give you a streak for how often you hit your step goal or move. They call it a move goal. Whatever, your general fitness goal for the day. It'll give you a long one. I missed mine by 1 calorie out of 700 calories one time.
That's pretty rough.
And I didn't know about it because it was a ring. It's like a little red ring, and you fill it in. How can I see when it's like...
It looks complete. If you're missing 1 out of 700 ticks, it looks complete.
And so I lost my streak of something like 400 days. And then I was just like, it was extraordinarily demotivating at that point in time. Here's what I think they should do with streaks on fitness apps.
All right, hit me. Apple, are you listening?
I think they should give you a way to earn back your streak. Like, here's an additional goal now because you lost your streak. Here's an additional goal. Go do this. And if you do that, then you'll get your streak back.
Within this first 24 hours, if you accomplish this additional task or challenge or something, we'll repair your streak. I like that.
Yeah, right? Not pay to do it, not like change your clock or anything like that. Just here's an additional thing you could do to repair it.
Yeah, go do a 15-minute walk. We'll repair it.
There you go. Fitness patch. There you go. Because you want people to work out.
Patch.
That's the whole point of the thing, right? You want them to work out.
It is true that when you break a streak, it goes from being very moralizing to when you're on the other side being very demoralizing.
Yeah.
Why bother?
It can crush your momentum when you finally break a very long streak. And then you can, if you're already motivated, you go like, well, I'll start over from 0 and get back to it. A lot of people won't feel that way. A lot of people feel like, damn it, I fucked that up.
Also, though, if you had a really long streak, getting back to the point that you were feels so far away.
It does.
That you're just like, it's ruined. It's ruined forever.
To the thing that you just basically, if you somehow stumbled over a stone and that reset your whole trip, you know what I mean? It's like even the stumble wasn't like a big fall off or anything. It's just like, oops, I didn't pay attention one day. And now I've lost a year and a half of streak goals. And
it is true that it's a streak that doesn't mean anything. They're not giving you a piece of candy every day that you get it. It's
right.
It's just one of those little mental games to help you. So why not add a repair? Add a little patch job.
Hey, Internet, you want a peanut?
Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of peanuts, Bernie, one of the other current events that is, Bernie, this could be this could be devastating. This could be an outrage. An Instagram famous squirrel named Peanut has been seized by the New York State authorities. Seized, Bernie. So
why was Peanut seized? What's going on in New York? Can't sell lemonade, can't have a costume contest, and now we're not allowed to be named Peanut as a squirrel?
No, so this this guy had rescued this squirrel when it was a baby. Basically, he found this baby squirrel's mother run over by a car. And so he took the baby squirrel in and he raised it, and then he tried to release it out into the wild. And he said like it came back like a day later with like broken bones and missing half its tail. It was not
Jesus.
It was not suited.
A bad first day at school.
It was not suited to being in the wild, right? It had never learned the things it needed to learn. So it wasn't suitable to just re-release. And so he'd been taking care of it. He'd started an Instagram for this account or for this squirrel. And you know, it got quite a lot of traction and people really liked it.
Animals do well.
Apparently, not everyone liked it. A bunch of people submitted complaints, and the authorities came, raided him, and took the squirrel.
Why did they submit complaints? Because he was mistreating the squirrel?
Unknown, could be. You know, you get some people that are very much of the PETA mentality where it's a wild animal. There is no circumstance under which this should be in a domesticated environment. I'm sorry, that's not always the case. If this squirrel literally can't survive in the world, is it better for it to live with a person than to go out and just die? I would say so, but apparently not everyone agrees.
What's the natural predator of a squirrel in New York City?
Everything. Pigeons.
Pigeons? For real?
Rats.
Let's think about, maybe rats. Yeah. Other squirrels, I guess.
And the thing is, as well, he says he was going through the paperwork to have it recognized as a rescue animal so that it would not be considered an unlicensed wild animal as a pet. But the paperwork wasn't through yet. And so they've taken the squirrel. He has no idea what's happened to it.
Oh,
And
that's a bummer.
I have to assume it's probably going to be euthanized. Which makes me so angry. Like, how were things worse for this squirrel than being euthanized?
Oh my God. Well, maybe they can get it to a real rescue organization.
Maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they'll assign it off to a rescue.
So if if you're listening out there and you run a rescue organization.
Anybody want a peanut?
Sorry. The whole time you're over there talking,
You're just looking that up.
Well, I hope Peanut's okay. I want Peanut to be safe and happy and not get beat up by other squirrels or pigeons, according to Ashley.
And Peanut, when you turn 13, I can tell you can have your own Instagram account.
Listen, I mean, if you're a squirrel, there's worse places in the world to live than, you know, the Upper West Side in Manhattan. It's a tough world out there, you know, wherever this guy lives, you know. But you know, I hope everything turns out okay for Peanut. Are we gonna keep track of this Instagram account?
We're starting Peanut Tracker 2024.
You know, you met Luke McKay, right? Yeah, you met.
Yeah,
Luke
I met
McKay.
him.
Yeah, so Luke McKay, who is the artist who drew the Rooster Teeth comics, he's got a squirrel that comes to visit him on a regular basis. He's got his Instagram account is filled with squirrels. I don't think he owns, you know, or houses the squirrels. I think they just come to his.
They're unhoused squirrels.
Yeah, well, you know, they're wild. So they're friends. He has squirrel friends.
Squirrel friends.
He's like a Disney princess, but in Canada.
One of my friends when I was in the Frag Dolls had a pet skunk.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, she's had it since it was a baby. It had its stinky gland removed, and she said it was the most amazing friend she'd ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
At that point, is it a skunk anymore if you take out the stinky gland?
Well, then it's a stripy cat.
Right, it's just a cat, basically. It's like
I feel a skunk
gross
feels
cat.
like a skunk feels like a cross between a raccoon and a cat.
A cross between a raccoon and a cat.
If it's not busy stinking up the place.
It's cat adjacent. And have you ever remember when Joe the cat got hit by a skunk? And we had to bathe him in tomato soup or whatever.
We used like canned tomatoes or something because I think it's something about the acid in the tomatoes will break down the stinkiness of the skunk spray. But oh my God, that was a process. I did not come out of that unscathed. I was bloody everywhere from that cat fighting me.
It's just weird how evolution works. You know what I mean? That we have this animal in North America that basically is just like a living fart.
It's a sticky fart.
It's so weird too.
It
It's
goes
like
with
such
you.
a specific smell. Like you're going down the road and you know when it's a skunk is nearby. Like just going down the road in your car, somebody hit a skunk or something like that.
Or just like a skunk passed by and was bothered.
They're so gross. I just think it's funny. It's something a little kid would come up with. That there's an animal that's stinky. Like that's its thing.
What? Let's say that all the animals are sitting around having a meeting. And what do? I stink.
Yeah, you think skunks
smell
are
bad.
offended by it when people bring it up? It's like there's more to us than that.
Why do you have to boil me down to this one characteristic?
We also carry rabies. We don't just stink all the time, and that's it.
Good Lord.
All right. Well, what a heartwarming story, Ashley, to set us off on the weekend is the displaced squirrel. So good luck to you.
Everyone keep an eye out for Peanut.
Little Peanut. I hope everything turns out well for you today.
All right, and I would like to say thank you before we go to our sponsors today, Aaron Burr, Brett Morgan, and Dennis Hopper.
Aaron Burr.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Thank you all for sponsoring this episode of our show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere.
All right, and that does it for us this week, ending the 1st of November. We will be back to talk to you on Monday. We hope you all will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.